Carlos Santana, the legendary guitarist whose music has transcended generations and whose soul-stirring riffs have etched themselves into the hearts of millions, is once again facing a serious health scare. As fans gathered in anticipation of another unforgettable performance in Texas, a medical emergency suddenly brought everything to a halt. Santana is currently hospitalized, receiving treatment after the incident occurred just before he was set to take the stage at the Majestic Theater in San Antonio. The news, first reported by TMZ and later confirmed by his representative, has sent shockwaves through the music world. According to his rep, Carlos experienced a sudden medical issue that they believe is likely tied to dehydration. This isn't just a minor setback. It was serious enough that he had to be immediately taken away from the venue in an ambulance. The moment was dramatic, deeply concerning, and sadly reminiscent of a similar scare the music icon faced just a couple of years ago. Those who were at the venue say the atmosphere shifted in an instant. One moment, Carlos was on stage, preparing for the night's performance with his usual dedication and passion during a soundcheck. The next, there was chaos and concern. Witnesses say he suddenly appeared weak, and within moments, emergency personnel were summoned. The sight of Santana being placed on a gurney and transported into the back of an ambulance left fans in stunned silence. It was a jarring and emotional scene for those present, many of whom had waited months, maybe years, to see him live. Some in the crowd openly wept. Others stood frozen, unsure of what had just happened. No one wanted to believe that their guitar hero was in distress once again. Santana's health scare in San Antonio immediately brought back memories of a similar and equally alarming episode in July 2022. During that incident, he collapsed right in the middle of a performance due to what his team later described as heat exhaustion and dehydration. That time, the fall was sudden, shocking, and very public, captured on camera and broadcast across news platforms around the world. Back then, the concern was just as palpable. Fans feared the worst, but Carlos bounced back. Despite the scare, he returned with resilience, performing with the same vigor that's defined his decades-long career. The image of him smiling through recovery was a reminder of his fighting spirit. But now, in 2025, another emergency has brought the conversation about his health back into the spotlight. As of now, his rep has stated that the Tuesday night performance has not been officially canceled, though they were quick to add that everything hinges on how Carlos responds to medical treatment. They're conducting additional testing to determine the root cause of this sudden collapse. While dehydration is currently the suspected culprit, there's an understandable urgency to ensure that nothing more serious is at play. Given his age, Carlos is now in his late 70s, and the physically demanding nature of performing live, even short-term issues like dehydration can carry significant risk. Santana has long been known for pouring everything into his performances. He doesn't just play music, he channels energy. Whether he's performing in front of 50,000 fans at a festival or in a more intimate theater setting, he brings the same intensity. It's this very commitment that's endeared him to fans across continents, cultures, and generations. For many, attending a Carlos Santana concert is more than just a musical event, it's a spiritual experience. He doesn't just play notes, he tells stories with every string he strums. That's why seeing him vulnerable, in a hospital bed rather than on stage, is so unsettling for so many. Despite this, fans are holding on to hope. The hashtag #PrayForSantana began trending shortly after news of his hospitalization broke. Messages of love, healing, and gratitude for his impact have been pouring in from across the globe. Artists, musicians, fans, and public figures alike have taken to social media to share their well wishes and to reflect on the mark he's made on the world. It's a moment that reminds everyone just how influential Santana has been, not only in shaping the sound of modern rock and Latin-infused music, but in fostering unity and emotion through his craft. Carlos has several other shows scheduled in the coming days as part of his Oneness Tour 2025. Friday and Saturday dates are currently still listed, but their status is, for now, uncertain. A decision will be made depending on how he recovers. His team is optimistic but cautious. They're asking fans for patience, understanding, and most importantly, positive energy as Carlos continues to rest and undergo evaluation. This health scare isn't just a blip in the schedule, it's a reminder of how human even our most immortal-seeming legends are. For over 5 decades, Carlos Santana has stood as a symbol of endurance, spirituality, and passion in music. From the moment he captivated the world at Woodstock in 1969 with his blistering guitar solo in Soul Sacrifice, to winning multiple Grammy Awards decades later for hits like Smooth and Maria Maria, he's continuously evolved while staying true to his roots. His music has always transcended genre, merging rock, blues, Latin, and jazz in ways that feel seamless yet profound. But more than just a musician, Carlos has long been a beacon of consciousness and compassion. He speaks of peace, love, healing, and unity in nearly every interview, and his music reflects that ethos. He often talks about being a conduit for divine energy. In fact, Carlos has said repeatedly that he doesn't feel like he's playing the guitar, but rather that the music flows through him, that he simply listens and obeys. That deep spiritual connection has been a cornerstone of his career. It's why people feel changed after one of his performances. It's why fans feel so fiercely protective of him now. 'Cause for so many, Santana represents more than entertainment. He represents awakening, healing, transcendence. And that's why his health is not just a personal matter, it's something that resonates deeply with the millions who have been moved by his music. For people who've followed his journey since the early days of Santana's self-titled debut album in 1969, through decades of reinvention and reinvigoration, this moment feels like watching a family member face an uncertain battle. There's a collective inhale, a global pause as fans wait for news, clinging to hope and praying for recovery. While this may feel like déjà vu, and while it certainly raises concerns about how many more tours or performances Santana will be able to commit to in the future, the overwhelming response from his team, his fans, and from Carlos himself, based on past incidents, is that of resilience. If anyone knows how to rise after a fall, it's Carlos Santana. He's done it countless times in both life and music. He's weathered industry shifts, personal struggles, and health issues before, and always with grace and humility. His Oneness tour itself is a reflection of where he is in his life. Title isn't just branding, it's a message. Oneness has long been a central theme in Carlos's philosophy. He speaks of connecting people through vibrations, of healing hearts through music, of creating an atmosphere where differences disappear and all that's left is the frequency of love. For Carlos, every concert is more than entertainment, it's an offering. And perhaps that's why moments like these hit so hard. When someone gives so much of their soul to the world, it's devastating to see them in need. For now, the plan is simple. Carlos is being monitored closely in a hospital, undergoing further testing and resting. His team remains hopeful that it's nothing more serious than dehydration. But the concern remains, and rightly so. Dehydration in older adults can be a gateway to more dangerous issues: heart strain, confusion, electrolyte imbalance, and more. It's not just about being tired or needing fluids. It's a warning sign, a red flag that something needs to be addressed before pushing forward. There's no official word yet on when he'll be discharged or whether he'll resume his tour schedule this weekend. But fans are already sending a clear message: they'd rather wait than risk his health. They'd rather skip a show than see Santana jeopardize his well-being. Because while the music is extraordinary, it's Carlos, the man, the soul, the spirit that they love most.